In the top 1%, your marriage isn't just romantic. And your partner, he's not just your perfect match. He's your potential future enemy with unlimited resources and a reputation to protect. So in today's episode, we'll explore how some women walk away from billionaires while others barely walk away at all. Once upon a time, because all terrible things usually start like fairy tales, there was a young woman named Mary who married very well. Peter was tall, powerful, and so rich he didn't carry a wallet because money just appeared. She was beautiful, discreet, and smart enough to never ask what energy sector meant. They lived in Moscow, their children went to Swiss schools, their dogs flew private. She had it all. Except a faithful husband. Because despite of Mary loving luxury world, there was nothing she loved more than being a mother. But while she was raising their children and creating the family's image, he was collecting mistresses like vintage watches, hidden but always ticking. And one day, she finally snapped. She didn't scream, she didn't throw things, she just asked for a divorce. But in the world of oligarchs, asking for a divorce is not just a request. It's a declaration of war. Mary did not come from this world. She didn't know what to expect. What she had in mind is that her husband would get mad, scream about that she's not getting a penny, and how she's gonna end up alone with 3 kids. She was ready for this. But she was not ready for what was about to come, and she couldn't imagine it in her worst nightmare. 2 days after Mary asked for a divorce, an ambulance with police arrived at the house. Not lawyers, an ambulance. They broke into her house and told her that she was mentally unstable. They said that her behavior was dangerous for her children. She quickly realized that her husband, her powerful, well-connected husband in a corrupt country, had created a medical order. She tried to protest, she screamed, she cried, but she was escorted out of her own house. They took her to a private psychiatry clinic outside of the city, where she was changed into the hospital clothes and drugged until she couldn't remember her name, let alone her rights. However, just before leaving the house, she was able to grab just one thing: her phone. One time, doctors came into her room, where she was hiding her phone under the mattress, and the phone started vibrating. It was her husband calling. Peter was searching the house after his wife was taken away and noticed that her phone was gone. When she heard that the phone started vibrating, she was so scared the doctors will hear it. She knew that that phone is her only hope of getting away from there. So she actually started acting insane, screaming, throwing things, doing anything so the phone is not hurt. Of course, she was drugged yet again. But her mission was actually accomplished. They did not hear the phone. Once she woke up, she tried calling friends, family, even her old lawyer, but no one wanted to get involved because everybody knew who her husband was, and no one wanted to go missing. She was locked away for 2 weeks until her youngest sister pulled off a movie-level rescue. She snuck in, bribed someone, and physically took her out of the clinic, after which they escaped to a small village to hide. And from that moment, the real battle has started. She filed for custody. She wanted her kids back. She told the court about the clinic, the drugs, the lies, but he had already gone ahead of her months before. He had told the children, "Your mom left us for another man." He showed them edited messages, leaked photos. The kids, confused and scared, began to pull away and started resenting their mother. The trial dragged on for years. Different jurisdictions, international laws. The media barely touched the story because her ex owned half of the outlets. And in the end, she got supervised visits, a few hours a month. The children never looked at her the same way. And the man who orchestrated the entire nightmare still vacationed at the Capri with wife number 2, just like Mary predicted, a 20-something-year-old model. In normal divorces, you lose your house. At elite divorces, you can lose your name, your children, and your mind. Because when the man you're divorcing has unlimited power, the truth doesn't matter. Only the version he can afford to publish. So here's the quiet warning behind the glossy lifestyle. If he owns the story, he owns the ending. Our next couple met at a hedge fund in New York, because where else do you fall in love in the 90s? His name was Jeff, her name was MacKenzie. Jeff actually interviewed her and offered a job, but she picked a different department. Luckily though, her assigned office was right next door to Jeff's.
My office was next door to his, and all day long I listened to that fabulous laugh. How could you not fall in love with that laugh?
She has just graduated from Princeton, where she majored in English and dreamed of being a novelist, a writer with an eye for stories, and the kind of woman who could spot a structural flaw in narrative and a business plan. She didn't just understand plot, she understood publishing. So a few years later, when Jeff came to her with an idea to sell books online,
and I picked books as the first best product to sell online.
the concept that sounded insane at the time, MacKenzie didn't flinch. She knew the industry, knew the margins. She wasn't just the supportive wife, she was the co-pilot and Amazon's first employee. Jeff was writing business plans, MacKenzie was reviewing them.
Amazon.com, very good website. You should really try it.
And she stayed. The risk it all for his dream face. Moreover, she secured Amazon's first logistics partnership. 25 years later, Jeff is the richest man in the world. So in 2019, the press explodes with the headline hotter than any Prime Day deal. Jeff Bezos is getting divorced.
This is going to be one of the biggest ticket divorces ever.
And not just divorced. Divorced while sexts to his new girlfriends were leaked on Twitter.
He has denied sending, quote, many penis pics.
A true American scandal. Investors started feeling like they don't really know Jeff that well. Is he really the type of guy who's willing to risk it all? That was not a great look for his business. Now here's the twist. The richest man in the world had no prenup. There was no public fights, no screaming matches, just quiet negotiations and very expensive lawyers. MacKenzie knew her worth. Jeff knew that she knew his secrets. So they did what most rich couples aim to do but often fail. They settled gracefully and discreetly over billions, making her the third richest woman on earth overnight. And what did she do next? She donated more money in 1 year than Jeff had in decades. She started to give it away. No press tours, no MacKenzie pledge, just billions in casual generosity, while Jeff went to space, as one does. Imagine telling your girlfriends that your ex went so nuts he had to go to space post-breakup. So what can women learn from MacKenzie and Bezos? Even without a prenup, she left with $36 billion and zero public drama. That's what we call a quiet power. Keep in mind though, she gave up all of her voting power. But people believe that that move was made to show that she wants to move on and have nothing to do with him. Silence is golden, and so is equity. While some would have done a tell-all interview.
When I divorced him, you have to know it came down to just one thing: his personality.
MacKenzie said nothing. Just dropped a tweet, signed a check, and become the most philanthropical woman in America. Meanwhile, Jeff posted a shirtless picture and started dating a woman who calls him life. I wonder what the comments would be if, God forbid, a woman behaved like this post-divorce. What rich women remember is that they are not treated equally, and even if they hope and fight for equality, they never expect it. MacKenzie knew that she can't afford such behavior. She had the reputation to protect, because what men can get away with is boys being boys.
Boys will be boys.
Women get punished for and labeled as whores. Know when to walk away. She could have stayed. She could have tolerated the leaked text, the public humiliation, but she chose peace and set an example for her 4 children, who are, by the way, very private. But we indeed know that Jeff and MacKenzie have one daughter. And I guess with this divorce, MacKenzie taught her daughter a lesson that sometimes the most expensive thing you can lose in a marriage is yourself. More phone calls? Hello.
Best advice, what you should do if you divorce?
Never talk shit about your ex-partner to your children. They're an extension of that person, and you will just ruin their self-image. I'm listening.
Can prenup be overruled?
Yes, prenups can actually be overruled, but only in very certain situations. If someone signed it days before the wedding, sobbing in a hotel room with lawyers they didn't know, court might overrule this and say that it was done under pressure. So timing really matters. Second of all, if there was no legal advice. If one party didn't have their own lawyers or didn't understand what they were signing, that could be another reason. And lastly, hidden assets. If one person lied about their financials or hid the money, then the prenup could be overruled. Great question though. Some really good questions today. When young girls dream of marriages, they dream of marrying someone who's rich and powerful. But in the world of top 1%, you want an equal. And even during the marriage, you do not just become one. You keep your own lawyers, your own alliances, your own leverage. You bring gifts from vacations to your family doctor. And if your husband offers his legal team, that's very generous. But use your own. Because in our world, you don't just prepare for a wedding. You prepare for any outcome. It only takes one dinner party, one wrong text message to turn forever into never again. Marry whoever you want. Fall in love. Throw the party. But also, build your network. Have your own numbers to call, because in the top 1%, the most romantic thing you can do is protect yourself. And in the end of the day, the question is divorce the price of failure or just the receipt for believing that love was free to begin with? Like, subscribe, and as always, do whatever you want with this information.